So you might argue that really the prototype of these decentralized trials have been trials in type 1 and type 2 diabetes that we've run for years and years and years, really. And actually, that's not unsurprising. The technology there, for example, for measuring glucose remotely is fantastic. You can have an indwelling sensor, you can wear it for 2 weeks, it checks your glucose 30, 40 times a day. But then I have to confess, really, I've been enthused by the kind of explosion in cloud computing that happened in maybe 18, 19 or whatever, and then companies coming and offering me blood pressure meters that could measure blood pressure at home, weighing scales, connected this, connected that. You only have to have a little hub in the corner of your room at home, and then you can really monitor so many things remotely. And so with that in mind, in 2020, 2021, we instigated a kidney trial, actually. And as part of that, we built in remote weighing scales that would check for fluid retention every day. We built in an iPad that was alarming for when patients hadn't taken their medication or hadn't weighed themselves properly. And we had a remote blood pressure monitoring that would tell us a lot about pulse and blood pressure in patients during the course of the trial. So not sure if you want me to go into the pros and cons now, Dan, or if you want me to save what actually happened until later on.
No, why don't you share that with us now? Yeah, I mean, because it's immediately the question that I was thinking. So how did it go?
So I'll be honest, it wasn't perfect. You can imagine quite a lot of tech companies that try to promote ways to monitor patients remotely. They often try the devices out on 30-somethings or students in their tech lab or whatever, and then you translate that to your dad or to your granddad who could be in their 70s or 80s, and actually asking them to wear a blood pressure pulse strap around their arm that looks like a tourniquet, to use an iPad when they haven't got their right glasses on, to use a weighing scales that maybe won't transmit brilliantly well to your Wi-Fi hub if your Wi-Fi hub's in the wrong room, or if your internet's a bit slow because granddad's teenage grandsons are streaming live movies or PlayStation 5 upstairs or whatever. You begin to run into problems, and you kind of get the gist. And then we put all of our sites into a personal hell, to be honest, because actually we then had the iPad that was alarming to the sites when the data was missing. And what the sites told me was they found it very alarming when these alarms would multiply and grow because no one answered them. And eventually, a number of the sites would spend the whole afternoon answering alarms from their patients who hadn't quite hit the right bit of the iPad. So you can kind of get the gist of where I'm going with this, really, that it
Sure.
wasn't perfect.